Shut them a tear up choices ago. I don't want to.
All the leaves have gone green.
1969 wasn't just the year of the moon landing and Woodstock. It was also a gold mine for one-hit wonders. These were the artists who shot to the top with one unforgettable tune, and then vanished into musical limbo. From psychedelic jams to novelty hits, these songs captured the spirit of the time and left a mark, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. So throw on your bell-bottoms, adjust your lava lamp, and get ready to groove through 15 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1969. You listened to in your car that made us dance, scratch our heads, or wonder what the heck we just listened to. Love Can Make You Happy, Mercy. This sweet ballad was a surprise hit in 1969, coming from an unknown Florida-based band, and was actually recorded for a low-budget movie called Fireball Jungle, which you've probably never heard of because the film bombed. But somehow, the song took off like a rocket, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and dominating easy listening radio for weeks. With soft harmonies and a tender melody, it was classic sunshine pop with just enough emotional oomph to stick in your brain. The band got a record deal off the success. But here's the twist. The label released a version of the song by a fake group also called Mercy, confusing fans and radio stations. Eventually, the real Mercy re-recorded it and put out an album. Despite the drama, the group couldn't replicate the magic again. Love Can Make You Happy was their moment, and they made it count, even if the rest of their catalog faded fast.
There are so many good things to see while grazing in the grass.
Grazing in the Grass, The Friends of Distinction. Originally an instrumental jazz hit by Hugh Masekela, Grazing in the Grass got a groovy vocal makeover by the Friends of Distinction in 1969, and it was a vibe. Their version, powered by uplifting vocals and that infectious "I can dig it, he can dig it" chant, soared to number 3 on the charts and became a staple of the late 60s soul scene. The group brought a slick, sunny energy to the song, and it felt like a full-on picnic in musical form. Formed in Los Angeles, the Friends of Distinction were co-founded by Harry Elston, who had previously sung with the Hi-Fis alongside Marilyn McCoo and Lamont McLemore, who later formed the Fifth Dimension.
The sun beaming down between the leaves.
Despite their name, the group didn't manage to stand out much after this one big splash. They had a few more modest chart appearances, but none stuck like Grazing in the Grass. Still, this breezy jam remains a go-to tune for retro playlists and backyard barbecues. Oh Happy Day, Edwin Hawkins Singers. If gospel music ever had a mainstream breakthrough moment, it was with Oh Happy Day in 1969. This wasn't your typical Sunday morning hymn. It was a full-on spiritual celebration led by Dorothy Combs Morrison and the Edwin Hawkins Singers. With its jubilant choir, swinging piano, and soulful lead vocal, the song hit number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and took home a Grammy. Not bad for something originally recorded as a fundraiser for a local youth group in Berkeley, California. The track was never supposed to be a radio single, but once DJs got hold of it, it exploded. Oh Happy Day was a cultural phenomenon, crossing over to pop, R&B, and even European charts. It inspired countless artists and was later featured in movies like Sister Act and Secretariat. Unfortunately, the Edwin Hawkins Singers couldn't duplicate the success, though Hawkins himself remained a respected figure in gospel circles. Their hit may have been singular, but its joyful message was eternal.
Shut them a tear up choices ago. I don't want to.
The Israelites, Desmond Decker and the Aces. Before Bob Marley hit the global stage, there was Desmond Decker. In 1969, his hit The Israelites brought Jamaican reggae to the international spotlight. With its syncopated rhythm and Decker's thick patois delivery, it was unlike anything else on American radio. And yet, it became a surprise crossover hit, peaking at number 9 in the US and topping the UK charts. The lyrics, which reflected struggles with poverty and societal pressure, had deep meaning but left many listeners scratching their heads. Still, the catchy beat and distinctive vocal phrasing made it undeniably memorable. Decker had a loyal following in Jamaica, but The Israelites was his only major hit outside the island. He paved the way for the reggae explosion that would follow in the 70s, a but the mainstream spotlight never quite returned to him. Today, The Israelites is considered a pioneering track that broke down musical borders and proved that even the most unexpected sound could rule the charts, if it had the right groove. More Today Than Yesterday, Spiral Staircase, is pure feel-good pop wrapped in a jazzy package. Released in 1969 by Spiral Staircase, yes, with a funky spelling, it reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a timeless romantic anthem. Frontman Pat Upton's smooth, heartfelt vocals and the band's brassy instrumentation gave the song a warm, upbeat vibe that was just infectious. It wasn't edgy or psychedelic like many 60s hits. It was just sincere, and sometimes that's all you need. Spiral Staircase started as an Air Force band called the Fidalians before morphing into their more radio-friendly name and scoring this big hit. Sadly, they couldn't repeat the success. Upton eventually left the music scene, although he did tour with Rick Nelson for a while. More Today Than Yesterday lived on, though. It's popped up in films, TV shows, and commercials, proving that one hit, when it hits just right, can outlive a whole career. A simple message, a great hook, and boom, you're immortal. Kimosbe by the Electric Indian is one of those songs that makes you go, wait, what am I listening to? Released in 1969 by the Electric Indian, a studio project spearheaded by Len Barry of 1-2-3 fame. The track mashed up spaghetti western vibes, Native American stereotypes, and surf rock rhythms. It somehow reached number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100. The title comes from the Lone Ranger. Kimosbe was Tonto's name for his masked buddy. The song was mostly instrumental, punctuated by chanting and galloping percussion that wouldn't fly today but was oddly hypnotic back then. It wasn't a cultural think piece. It was kitsch, catchy, and weirdly danceable. The Electric Indian was never a real band. It was basically a group of Philly studio musicians, including future members of MFSB and the Philly soul scene. They rode this novelty hit for all it was worth, then vanished into the plains of musical obscurity. Kimosbe may not be politically correct, but it's definitely unforgettable in the world of one-hit wonders.
Tracy, never let go.
Tracy by the Cufflinks was a 1969 bubblegum pop hit that sounds like it came straight from a Saturday morning cartoon. And that's part of its charm. Sung by studio legend Ron Dante, who also voiced the Archies' Sugar Sugar, this sugary tune climbed to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. But here's the twist. The Cufflinks weren't a real band when Tracy hit the airwaves. It was all Dante, double and triple tracked, to sound like a full group. The record label scrambled to put together a touring band after the single blew up. Written by Lee Pockris and Paul Vance, the song had that signature bubblegum sound.
Tracy, never.
Bright melodies, sweet lyrics, and zero edge. It was pop music for pure joy's sake. Dante chose not to continue with the Cufflinks project, focusing instead on producing for Barry Manilow. The group fizzled out after a couple of minor follow-ups, but Tracy remains a gem of its time. A candy-coated classic from the one-hit factory.
She go out in the evenings and pick her a little bit of it.
Polk Salad Annie, Tony Joe White, served up some swampy southern soul with Polk Salad Annie in 1969, and America ate it up. The song hit number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and introduced listeners to a gritty, funky tale about a poor Louisiana girl surviving on wild greens and dodging gators. It was basically a bayou blues rock story set to a mean guitar riff. White's spoken word delivery, thick southern drawl, and funky groove gave the song an authenticity that stood out in the psychedelic haze of the late 60s. Though he never scored another big hit himself, Tony Joe White went on to write songs for the likes of Elvis Presley and Tina Turner, so he did just fine.
Every day for supper time.
Elvis even covered Polk Salad Annie in his Vegas shows. The tune became a southern rock staple and a cult favorite. One-hit wonder on the charts? Sure. But musically, Tony Joe White carved out a legacy that goes way beyond just one wild serving of polk salad.
In the year 45.
In the year 2025, Zager and Evans. Talk about a doomsday hit. In the year 2025, Exordium and Terminus was 1969's version of a sci-fi TED Talk set to eerie music. It imagined humanity's bleak future in 1,010-year intervals, starting from 2525 and ending in our total extinction. Naturally, it hit number 1 in both the US and the UK. The song struck a nerve during a time of space travel, Cold War fears, and cultural upheaval. Its apocalyptic message, delivered in a haunting monotone, was both chilling and weirdly mesmerizing. Denny Zager and Rick Evans were two college buddies from Nebraska, and after this meteoric success, they pretty much disappeared.
He'll either say I'm pleased where man has been.
They released more music, but lightning didn't strike twice. In the year 2525 remains their only charting hit, and one of the most nihilistic one-hit wonders of all time. It's since been used in everything from The X-Files to dystopian documentaries. If you ever need a reminder that humanity might be doomed, this is your soundtrack.
Have a little smile for me.
Smile a Little Smile for Me, The Flying Machine. British pop band. The Flying Machine scored their one big hit in 1969 with Smile a Little Smile for Me, a bittersweet tune that hit number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song's premise is simple, trying to cheer up a heartbroken girl named Rosemary. With its bouncy melody, airy vocals, and comforting lyrics, it was a warm hug in musical form, a sort of audio pep talk for anyone nursing a broken heart. The Flying Machine was fronted by Tony Newman and came out of the UK's vibrant late 60s pop scene.
A little smile for me.
The band never followed up with another hit. Despite releasing a few more singles and an album, the tune became a soft rock radio staple and was often lumped in with the sunshine pop genre. It's the kind of song you might hear in a rom-com flashback or a nostalgic commercial about simpler times. Smile a Little Smile for Me is proof that sometimes one tender moment in the spotlight is all you need. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you get your reminiscent songs from the past, from classic American auto and music a couple of times per week.
The little girl's growing now.
Morning Girl, the Neon Philharmonic, is pure Baroque pop drama, with strings, horns, and theatrical flair packed into 3 emotional minutes. Released in 1969, the song reached number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sounded like it belonged in a Broadway musical more than on the radio. Sung by Don Gant and backed by a full orchestra arranged by songwriter Tupper Saucy, yes, that was his real name, the track is a poetic ode to waking up next to a lover after a long, lonely night. Its cinematic style and orchestral swells made it stand out amid the fuzz guitars and acid trips of the era.
Morning girl.
The Neon Philharmonic had a unique vibe, but unfortunately their sound didn't catch on beyond this hit. They recorded a couple of albums, but quietly faded away. Still, Morning Girl lives on as a lush, beautiful oddity from 1969, a dramatic and romantic one-hit wonder that sounds like it should have come with a velvet curtain and spotlight.
Think I'm calling father.
Color Him Father, the Winstons. This wasn't just a hit. It was a heartfelt tribute to stepdads everywhere. This 1969 soul single hit number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won a Grammy for Best R&B Vocal Group Performance. Lead singer Richard Spencer's warm vocals told the story of a man stepping in to raise another man's children with love, respect, and strength. In an era filled with protest songs and psychedelic trips, this one was refreshingly grounded and emotionally real. But here's the twist. While the A-side melted hearts, the B-side, Amen Brother, gave birth to the most sampled drum break in history, the Amen break.
I'm gonna call him father.
That 6-second snippet became the backbone of hip-hop, jungle, breakbeat, and countless genres. So technically, while the Winstons were a one-hit wonder on the charts, their music helped shape modern music in a way few others have. Color Him Father gave them a moment in the spotlight, but that drum break made them immortal. Good Old Rock and Roll, Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys. This song is like a jukebox in overdrive. Good Old Rock and Roll by Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys hit number 21 in 1969, and it's basically a medley of classic 1950s rock tunes. Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Little Richard, all wrapped in a foot-stomping tribute to the golden era of rock. Produced by none other than Jimi Hendrix. Yes, that Jimi Hendrix. The track mashes nostalgia with jam band energy. Cat Mother started as a folk rock group but leaned hard into this tribute-style single that radio stations and retro fans love. The band never returned to the top 40 after this blast from the past hit, despite touring and releasing more music. Still, it's a fun, rowdy celebration of the songs that started it all. And it stood out in 1969 for its old-school vibes during a time of new musical frontiers. Good old rock and roll is the sound of a band tipping its hat to its roots and doing it loud.
All the leaves have gone green.
Gene, Oliver, is a soft, string-laden ballad that oozes 1969 sentimentality. It reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was the theme song for the film The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. With its poetic lyrics, lush orchestration, and Oliver's gentle tenor, it sounded like something that should be playing during a slow dance at your aunt's wedding. Oliver, real name William Oliver Swafford, had just come off another hit with Good Morning Starshine, but Gene was his only other chart success. The song was written by Rod McEwen, known for his emotional and often melancholic poetry. While Gene charmed listeners in its moment, its overly sentimental tone made it feel dated fast. Think of it as the musical equivalent of a doily. Oliver's career faded in the 70s, but he left behind a brief legacy of beautiful, if slightly sappy, ballads. Gene remains one of those slow-burning love songs that somehow still sneaks onto soft rock playlists. Mana Mana, Piero Umiliani. Let's end with the weirdest earworm of 1969. Originally part of a racy Italian documentary, Svezia, Inferno e Paradiso, the nonsense tune somehow made its way onto American radio and hit number 55 on the Billboard Hot 100. But where it really found its fame was on Sesame Street, and later, The Muppet Show, where fuzzy puppets turned it into one of the most beloved novelty songs ever.
Mana mana.
The magic of Mana Mana is its sheer absurdity. It's just a guy scatting gibberish over a groovy, jazzy beat, but it's catchy as heck and impossible not to smile at. Umiliani was actually a respected composer in Italy, scoring films and jazz pieces, but Mana Mana became his oddball legacy. It's the kind of song that lives in your head rent-free for decades. One-hit wonder? Sure. Cultural icon? Absolutely. Mana Mana. Do, you're welcome. And there you have it. 15 glorious flashes of brilliance from 1969. Some of these artists went on to do other things quietly, and others disappeared like your last roll of film at Woodstock. But their songs stuck around, getting sampled, covered, and randomly played at weddings, car commercials, and your uncle's garage. One-hit wonders may not have had staying power on the charts, but their legacy still going strong in your playlists and your head. Which one was your favorite? Did we miss a one-hit gem from '69 you still sing in the shower? Let us know in the comments, give us a like if you sang along, and don't forget to subscribe for more blasts from the musical past. Peace, love, and catchy choruses, folks.